What's up, everybody? It's your boy Pistol Pete coming at you from, I guess, a different venue right now. But what I want to talk to you about is Sturgis 2023. Let's get into it. But first, I want to give a special shout out to my beautiful niece, Haley Mandel. Congratulations, mija. She is now an LVN, and she was actually valedictorian of her class. Let's go, girl. Yeah. Okay, so let's get into the Sturgis ride, right? So the original plan was to take off from Pecos, Texas, drive into Odessa, meet up with my aunt, my Uncle Albert, and my Uncle Rudy. Take off Friday the 4th, I believe. Drive up, up 385, get close, at least more than halfway, almost 3/4 of the way, and then the next morning, which would have been Saturday, finish the ride back into the Sturgis country, right? But I had to work on Tuesday the 8th, so I didn't get to take off with everybody on Friday, but my Uncle Rudy did hold back and wait for me so we could take off together. So we left Pecos about 6 a.m. or so, and had to drive into Carlsbad for work, like I mentioned. And man, I had to take a class. The class was from about 9 in the morning till 3 o'clock in the afternoon, being New Mexico time. So we left at 7 Texas from Pecos. Didn't get to leave Carlsbad until 4 Texas, right? But from there, we get on the bikes. We're going to drive as hard and as fast and as long as we can, until it just gets too late or we get too tired. And we left Carlsbad. As soon as we drive out there, drive it north of town, we start getting some rain on us. Now, every time me and my uncle go for rides, man, we get rained on. Any ride that's longer than 2 hours, you could bet. Now, we could bet that we're going to get some rain, and we did, right? We got a little bit of rain going up into Roswell. Now, we stopped in Roswell to get some gas, which is our official first stop. Gassed up and took off. As soon as we took off, the rain hit us hard. Like, it was raining. We got through this little chip of rain, and now we're driving. And I don't know if anybody's been up through that route from Roswell, just headed north in that area, but there was a whole lot of nothing. Not knocking the state, not saying it wasn't pretty or anything, but man, there's a whole lot of nothing up there. If you ever get a chance, I would avoid it. I would go a different route, but it was decent. It's just, miles and miles of road in front of you, just a little a little squiggly line. Just find a point, drive to it, and pick another point and carry on, right? So we drove up there past Roswell, and our first stop was actually in Las Vegas, New Mexico. At this point, so we kind of stopped here and there on the road. So my bike doesn't have a very big tank, and I was also running really rich on the front end, so I was burning through gas unnormally fast. Motorcycles average about 45 miles per gallon, and I was only getting about 35 for whatever reason, and it was just killing our time because we're having to pull over, use the gas tank, fill up, make it at least to the next stop. And it was just taking away from our time of being on the road. But nonetheless, right, get to Las Vegas, and I had just filled up with the gas tank so I could go a little further. My next stop was planned to be Waltrus. At this point, it started getting dark. I didn't realize there was no gas station in Waltrus, New Mexico. So we get to Waltrus and we had to backtrack. So I lost us about a good hour, having to backtrack back into Las Vegas. Then we both top off in Vegas, and from Vegas, now we're hightailing it up north. My original goal was to get us to at least Denver, right? But again, it was getting real late. It was getting really cold. We had to stop and put our rain suits on, get the helmets going, and And there was a place just before we got out of New Mexico. It was a Tecolotito. In translations, like little owl, right? But going through those mountains, again, this isn't a bad thing, but there was a smell in the air that the only thing I can say it smelled like was a brand new, never used porta potty that was just filled up with whatever chemical they use. And it was kind of minty-ish, right? But that smell was just all over. It was real distinct. Didn't stink. Again, it's not a knock, right? And I'm not nasty for liking that smell either. It's just, it had a certain smell to it all through those mountains, and it was just different. I had never smelled anything that way. Anyways, carry on, man. So we get to Las Vegas. I'm still good on the gas, so we turn up to Waltruce, swing back around, put gas back in Vegas. We take off, and because of that hour, that I lost us, my new goal was at least get into Colorado, because it's getting really late at this point, right? And I don't know if you've ever in a vehicle, in a car or a truck, when you got 80 miles to go, it's about an hour. In Texas, it's about an hour's worth of driving. When you get up into these smaller areas, you're having to constantly slow down through towns and whatnot, and through mountains, through curves. So those 80 miles turn into hour and a half, 2 hour rides. So we got up into Colorado City, Colorado, and at that point it was about 2:30 in the morning. We had a crash out there. We were gonna stay at a drive-through. No, I'm sorry, a rest area, right? And it's just like a drive-through rest area. The way it was built was just kind of strange, but man, it was packed with people. Cars were moving kind of funny. Just didn't really feel comfortable staying there. It looked more like a whorehouse than anything else. Not a knock on that city or nothing, but we went back into the gas station. Across the street was a dispensary, right? So there was a dispensary. The gates were open to go into the parking lot, and so we just parked the bikes close to a park bench out there and cuddled up on the bench, him on one side and me on one side, and just take our nap. So we took a nap. It was probably about a 3-hour nap, 6 o'clock-ish or so. My alarm went off. Hey, you ready to go? Got some coffee, jumped back on the ride. So here we are, back on the rides again, real early in the morning. Sun ain't really up. From Colorado City into Denver, it wasn't that far of a ride, but I don't know if you've ever driven through Denver. I've heard this from several different people. There's just a lot of traffic, and sure enough, man, we got to standstill traffic twice, 2 different spots, trying to drive through there. And man, it took us a couple hours to get through Denver. That was a pretty big strain, right? We've been just sitting on the bike trying to make it to our destination, which is Sturgis again, and we kind of getting held up in Denver, which I guess it's not too bad, but we're still trying to make it to the goal, right? We have a goal now, right? So a little bit past Denver, pull over, just put some gas right now, and then just stretch this run out some more, right? We need to get there, but I'm still having to put gas more frequently than usual for my engine having those problems. I don't know why it took me so long to remember to download the Fuel Pack app that I have for my ECM controls on my bike. But I mentioned the front end was burning rich. I didn't find that out until we got into, where were we? Cheyenne, Wyoming. In Cheyenne, Wyoming, that's where I learned, like, oh, I'm running rich. I tried to clear the code a couple times. It's helped in the past where just clear the code and it goes away, but it kept coming back up, running rich, and I was just burning through gas. Now, we stopped in Cheyenne. Very beautiful place. I recommend going out there, seeing the stuff. I'm sure there's stuff to do with your family out there. It's real nice. It's a beautiful place. I'm sorry, let me backtrack. I forgot to say this, man. And I didn't get no pictures because I'm on the bike and we're driving, right? We're not trying to sightsee at this point. We're just trying to get to Sturgis. We're late. We're behind schedule. Well, as soon as we're getting out of Colorado, like right into Wyoming, there was a herd of buffalo. Now, I don't know how many were there, but I'm going to say it was close to 200 buffalo. And I never seen buffalo in the wild. Growing up in Pecos, we had a zoo, right? Pecos, Texas, right? And there was like 2 buffalo out there. Poor things, we're all beat up or whatever, but those are the only buffalo I'd ever seen until, we get out there. And now I'm seeing 200 or so bison just living. Heck yeah, let's go. But anyways, man, we get up there into Cheyenne. It's very beautiful. Now from Cheyenne, let's fill up again. We have about 180 miles or so to our next gas stop, which is in Lusk, Wyoming. It's getting closer, right? But again, these 150 mile trips, man, they, instead of it being, a quick 2 hours, they turn into 3 hours having to stop and pull over because of my gas issue. Yeah, but we get into Lusk, Wyoming, get a hold of my aunt and my uncle that are already at Sturgis. Hey, we're about this far, and okay, we'll see y'all when y'all get here. Be careful, right? So we're going, and I'm navigator at this point. I got the phone kind of stuck on the gas tank, just like turn here, turn there. Okay, it's my first time in the area. I have no idea where I'm going. Well, after Lusk, we are getting into South Dakota, and I remember seeing the map say 61 more miles to the campsite. So I changed, just getting into Sturgis to our actual campsite, and it said 61 miles, an hour and 38 minutes. Now, an hour and 38 minutes for 61 miles is kind of crazy to me. I was like, dude, that's like 45 minutes. I'll get there quick. I'm going to get there. Actually, yeah, I'm going to get there, right? So we take off, and I'm ready to get there because, again, we've been on the bike, since at least 4 Texas time. Now, we are in mountain time at this point, so our hour is back. We gain an hour getting up there, but that hour, it doesn't matter. Your butt is sore. There's a reason. There's drive. There's a thing called a bun burner or a saddle sore, right? And it's a you gotta ride a certain amount of miles in a certain amount of hours. Bikers watching this, y'all know exactly what I'm talking about. Non-bikers, go check it out. There's a website. It's called the Bun Burner, and it's a Iron Butt Association. It's you feel it in the butt. All right, cowboys riding on horses. I'm pretty sure y'all feel the same thing, probably even worse. All right, but anyways, I'm gonna get to this place. I'm ready to get off this bike. I need a break because we've been riding 61 miles. We crossed this sign that says Black Hills National Forest, and at that point my butt didn't hurt anymore. I didn't care how much time was left, and I looked at my phone. I could see the map, and it was just curves coming, and beautiful 100-foot trees, waterfalls, creeks, rivers. Just the most beautiful country I'd ever seen. It was nice, right? If you don't have a bike, I still recommend going up into the Black Hills National Forest. There's so many campsites, so much things to do. It was freaking amazing seeing this site as we drive in there. So that's 61 miles. They actually took that amount of time because it's time to see some nice stuff. Okay, so we've seen beautiful stuff. We've seen absolutely nothing. Now we're at the campsite. The campsite is gorgeous. It's a Hidden Valley campground in Deadwood, South Dakota. Again, I highly recommend going out there, even just for vacation with your family, right? It don't have to be on a bike, but if you can make it on the bike, that's probably the best bet. Anyways, finally get to the campsite, unload the bikes, kind of set camp up. Let's go eat. Aunt and uncle that are there, they take us into town. We go eat, finally get a warm meal in us because we just been, just getting there, right? Meal's delicious. Let's go back to the campsite, hang out at the campfire. At this point, we're camping, and I had a great time every night, just sitting there at the campfire, relaxing. There's not much going on. We didn't go out there to party and drink it up, which is something you can do if that's what you feel like doing. It's just not what we were doing right now. I did have a beer or two, but it wasn't like let's go get all plastered, because in the next morning we have things to do. It's time to ride, right? So next morning we wake up, sun's out. Again, if you're looking on the map, where I live, straight up, is where we are, but we gained an hour, so there's sun out about 6:30 in the morning. Get up, shower up, get on the bikes. I believe we did Mount Rushmore and Crazy Horse. You have to stop and see these magnificent sights. Now, Crazy Horse isn't complete. Mount Rushmore is. I always thought it was just like you park and you can see a mountain, right? But there's parking spaces, there's restaurant, guest services. Just, it's nice, right? There's things to do there, and it's not just pull up to the side of the road and take a picture. Go in there, get some information, snacks, whatever, right? There's stuff to do there. Meet people, right? I met a couple and their daughter. They were from Texas, Crum, Texas. If you see this, right? Hey, what's up, guys? They were just on vacation. He told me, they've been traveling the country, in big, gigantic circle, north, east coast, south, back around west coast, just traveling, right? And so, we're so far from Texas. Still met a lot of people from Texas, looking at license plates on bikes. Illinois, Ohio, Washington, Cali. There's all sorts of people out there during the Sturgis week. From Mount Rushmore, we went up or down further south to Crazy Horse. Now, Crazy Horse, when they finish Crazy Horse, that is going to be one of the most spectacular things you will ever lay your eyes on. Now, as long as it's taking, I don't believe I will ever get to see the completion of it. I don't think my daughter will be able to see the completion of it. I think it would be my kids' kids to see it. Now, it might even be my kids' grandkids to see it, because it's so big. It takes so much work to get this mountain sculpted into a man riding a horse and pointing. Got hair flowing, mane flowing. It's going to take a lot of work. It's going to take a lot of time. But even where it is now, which is just the completion of a face and a hand pointing, it looks amazing coming off the side of the mountain. You got to make the trip out there, at least for Mount Rushmore and Crazy Horse. Very beautiful sights, very awesome to see. Yeah, so after leaving Crazy Horse, it was time to make it into Sturgis.
Yeah.
A group of us, some of them went different ways, but me,
there's another street on the other side.
My Uncle Albert, my Uncle Rudy, we drove into Sturgis. Now, while I was there, I was told, oh, this ain't nothing. It's usually way more bikes than this. But the week prior and the weekend before we got there, there's just a whole lot of rain, more than usual. So I think that had an effect on everyone there. They ended up going home and just taking off from the area. But while I was there, man, that's the most bikes I'd ever seen, right? And I don't mean, it looked like a couple hundred. I'm talking about it looked like a couple thousand, just lined up, 4 deep, side of the road, middle of the road. There was areas that you could drive, but only a bike could drive, and the lane was just big enough for a motorcycle to go through there. Right? No cars were going to pass through there. It's two different roads, and then it's just lined up with vendors, right? So you got everything there. Right? There's anything you can think of, it's going to be there. They got free stuff, they got expensive stuff, they got in the middle kind of stuff, t-shirts, everything that you need, everything you would expect from a biker rally is out there. Honestly, it wasn't what I was expecting. I had only been to a biker annual one other time, and it was like a 3-day event. And the entire time I was there, all you saw were parties, drinking, smoking, drugs, women half naked. I thought that's what Sturgis was as well, right? But surprisingly, getting there, it wasn't nothing like a wild party. It was a bunch of bikers enjoying life, riding bikes, having fun. Now, I'm pretty sure, behind the scenes, there's some all that stuff going on. Again, I didn't go out there to party. I went out there to ride. So maybe I missed all the drugs and smoking and stuff, right? But what I went for, I got, and I enjoyed every second of it. Now, after Sturgis, we went back into the campsite. This is, again, not like what I expected. So we get on the bike and you're driving, about 30 to 40 minutes worth of driving, get off the bike, 30, 40 minutes driving, get off the bike. It was just constant on and off the bikes, which is better than just hauling ass all day long, right? So I really enjoyed that part of it. Right now it's bedtime. This is our first day, which would be Thursday, the actual whole day. Friday is going to be our last day there, and then Saturday we're going to take off. Friday we woke up, same thing, drive 30, 40 minutes. These volunteer fire departments out there, they have, all you can eat breakfasts there. So that was pretty awesome. Just drive, get there, eat your breakfast, get back on the bike, drive through these mountains, seeing these canyons, waterfalls, my goodness, beautiful country. I don't know if I've said that already. I'm pretty sure I have, but beautiful country. You gotta make a trip out there just to see how pretty it is in these mountains. Now drive slowly, because there's a bunch of curves, and there's no need to be trying to haul ass through there and make a deathly mistake. Okay, but so Friday we do this, driving around. I get to go to Full Throttle. Now, some of you might know there was an actual TV show based on it. It was Full Throttle Saloon, right? And I never seen it. I didn't know that existed, but they have their bar there. Now, where the bar is not actually in Sturgis anymore. The Full Throttle that was in Sturgis burned down, and so they put it in another place closer to Rapid City, I believe. It's in between. It's not in Sturgis. Forgive me if I'm saying it incorrectly, but it's not directly in Sturgis anymore. It's just a little quick drive, get to Full Throttle, and man, that place is massive. Like I can see things getting wild there. I think we counted like 12 bars inside this one place. Got stages set up for live bands. Just all sorts of things in there. It's pretty cool. They got their little gift shop also. They sell moonshine that they make there. It's a pretty cool place, man. Full Throttle. It's another thing, if you don't have no kids, I recommend going out there one evening, you and whoever, and partying out there for one night at least, just to get the full experience of what it's like in there. But carrying on, right? So we're leaving. We go to Sturgis again, taking some pictures, and Sturgis it's beautiful. Again, it's not what I expected, but man, it's worth the trip. I can't wait to do it again. I hope I get to keep doing this every year from now on. My butt is still sore, but it's well worth it, right? Well worth it. Friday, we do all that camping again. Saturday, wake up, pack up the bags, or the bikes anyways, load everything up, and get on the road, head south on 385. Now, that view, coming down on 385 was better than going up on 25 through New Mexico, but there's a whole lot more towns and things in between, so if you run into some kind of issue, going to 385, you're gonna be closer to civilization than the way we went up, because again, going to New Mexico, there was a whole lot of nothing. Okay, yeah, coming down 385, get through out of South Dakota into Colorado, right? Coming down Colorado, straight hugging, get into Oklahoma. And now I try to measure the distance from state line to state line when you get into Oklahoma, where we went through. I want to say it was like 39 miles. Might have been like 45 or something, but I just got my tachometer band, looking at it like 79 on my gas trip, and then come out at about 112 or something. I can't remember exactly, but like I said, it wasn't very big, just a little strip of Oklahoma. Then we get into Texas, and you know how it would be in Texas, baby. We got to stop. We can take our pictures up there in Texas, welcome home, but we're not actually there. We still got some driving to do, and I forgot to say, we left at about 9 in the morning Saturday from the campsite in Deadwood at the Hidden Valley Campground, and we got to our sleeping point at about 7 in the evening, which was in It was in Colorado. I don't remember the little town in Colorado, but it wasn't memorable, that's for sure. Stayed in just a hotel room to get a bed. That's enough of the ground and benches. Let's go ahead and get a bed for the evening. Get that bed, wake up in the morning. We're back on the bikes about 7 o'clock or so in the morning. And again, 45 miles or so, just take a break. You're gonna need it, right? It's on a motorcycle, right? It's hard to just stay on the motorcycle unless you got some, my bike anyways, right? But unless you got some kind of, spaceship with extra comfort seat and cooling and massaging your butt cheeks, I'm pretty sure it's worth the stop, right? Because that stuff starts to hurt, man. I'm still sore, but and this is 2 days after I get home. I'm still really sore, but carry on, man. We're coming through, finally getting to Texas, man. Just making our little stops. Once we get to Andrews, Texas, that's where I have to split from the pack. For me to get home, it's faster to cut Andrews down to Kermit, Pecos, and my aunts and uncles are going to carry on to Odessa. My Uncle Rudy had to swing around Odessa, and he still had about an hour and a half, 2 hours to go into San Angelo, Texas. So I'm pretty sure he's a little more sore than I am. But yeah, man, that was it. That was the Sturgis trip, right? I'm going to be putting some pictures in here. Hopefully I figure out how to put the pictures and these videos together so you can see as I'm talking about it, the little pictures that I did get, right? But yeah, Sturgis 2023, I rode mine. Let's go, baby. All right, y'all, that was the video. Again, thanks for watching. Sturgis 2023.